Hello, hello, hello. Your girl Cecil Babes here. I'm live and happy Sunday. Let me give a few, like a minute or two, so maybe we can have a few people join and we can go ahead and talk about this. Hope you're all doing great. And again, thank you for trusting me with your time. I'm going to go ahead and share this. Hi. Say hi to me. Let me know where you're watching me from. Let's talk about gratitude today. As our topic says, an attitude of gratitude is what I'd love for us to talk about today. Thank you so much for joining. If you're there, please give me a heart, pump me a heart, say something in the comment section so I know you are here. Happy Sunday. And if I'm not wrong, this is probably the last Sunday of the month of November. Then we get into December, which is the time when we start thinking about Christmas and the whole holiday season. So I do appreciate anyone that has joined. For those who will be joining us subsequently, looking forward to seeing you. And as I said today, if you look at the description of this video, I'm here today to talk about gratitude, right? This is a big topic. And again, just so you know, I'm live alone today because Ice is not feeling too well. And so instead of not coming live at all, I decided to come live alone. And let's just talk about gratitude. Then next week she will be back again with. If she's not back by next week, then we'll have another chair girl join me because the whole idea is that I don't personalize this platform and make it you can be anything podcast platform to also make it to actually make it a House of Chair Girls platform. So some days you'll see my other sisters. It could be anybody. It could be Charlene. It could be Geraldine. It could be Sandrine. Once in a while, we might also invite the boys. Right. So today I'll be talking to you alone. Um, Hopefully, if Ice can join us in the comment section, she will probably respond to some of the questions we have on there. So again, what are we talking about? Gratitude. And this is a topic that I decided not to actually do too much research on because I just wanted to flow. And depending on who I have in the audience, I want us to ask ourselves, what does gratitude mean to us? Right? Yes, we just celebrated Thanksgiving. We are still in the spirit of Thanksgiving in the United States. So it is that day that they pick to celebrate, to give thanks, just as the name says, to give thanks, to be able to, in most cases, you see people traveling, families come together, they eat together, they share a turkey because that's the traditional meal for Thanksgiving. They'll share a turkey and just eat as a family and be grateful for whatever they have gone through in the year, well, within the year. So today, this is probably one of the reasons that I decided that we chose to talk about gratitude today. And it is that time when the end of the year is coming close, and we want to be able to we want to be able to have should I call it a retrospect? We want to be able to think back, right? How has the year been? This is November closing up. We have 1 month to the end of 2022. How has 2022 been for you? What are some of the things that you've encountered this year? What are some, again, whether good or bad things? One of the things that I try to do, which of course I know it is difficult, a lot of people speak about it, but it is being able to give thanks even in a situation that it's not the best. So it's like giving thanks even when you are in pain. I bet you that it is something that we say a lot. We try to encourage people to do, but even us personally, it's hard, right? It is hard. But if you can find yourself in a position where you can give thanks, even in the challenging, even in the difficult situations in your life, I bet you that personally it gives me some level of peace. So some of the things that I would like for us to ponder about is to ponder on will be questions like, when we talk of how do you as a person show gratitude, right? How do you show appreciation? How do you give thanks? Are you the kind of person that listens, that will say, okay, thank you for this? Are you the kind of person that wakes up in the morning and you thank God, or you thank whichever spirit you believe in, whatever you believe that is a superpower that controls the world? Are you the kind of person that wakes out of bed and you say, hey, thank you that I'm able to wake up today? Are you the kind of person that sits back and you're able to say, hey, thank you that I have food to eat? Thank you that I have an appetite, even? Growing up, we're all, I don't know, it's common among many homes, ours of which, of course, I will say is one of them. It was common to hear for us to say grace before we eat, right? And the reason our parents brought us up like that is that, hey, you want to always thank God for an opportunity to have a meal. And it is very common that that comparison will always go back and say, hey, remember, there are some children out there who are hungry and they don't have food to eat. So you want to always say your grace before you eat. I was talking to friend some time ago, and we visited them. So my daughter and I visited them. They are Caucasians. My daughter and I visited them, and we're having dinner together. And when we served, everybody served their food and put in front of them. Haley did her in the name of the Father and of the Son, and the other girl, her friend, was like, "Oh, Haley, you say grace before you eat?" And Haley said, "Yes, I say grace before I eat." And the smaller one, so Haley's friend, who is also, she's the one that asked. She's also 12. Her younger sister, who is about 7, was like, "Oh, we only say grace when we have Thanksgiving meal with grandma and grandpa." And their mom turned around and said, "Yes, Solange, we only say grace when we only say grace on Thanksgiving Day." And that is the day that we say that. So it doesn't mean that this family is not grateful. It's not just in the tradition, it's just not in their style to say grace before they eat. But definitely they have their own way of being grateful, however they do it. So that's just an example. Some people live by that. Some people have specific things that they'll always say grace for. We all see the World Cup is going on now in Qatar, and you all see even people that are non-Christians, they do the sign of the cross as they get into the whatever that means to them, right? But again, it's definitely something significant. They're probably covering themselves or wishing themselves the best and all of that. So the whole idea here is, I just want to hear, if you're watching me, how do you show gratitude? What does this mean to you? Right? Would you, oh, I don't want to say how do you identify. I'd rather put it how you show it, because gratitude is something that we want to be able to personally. I was talking to a group of friends yesterday, and personally, my gratitude starts with me. I show my gratitude by looking at myself, because the way I look at gratitude is, if I am grateful for me, if I am grateful for what I have, for what I am, for who I am, if I am grateful for where I've been, grateful for my journey, grateful for my challenges, my blessings, the days I cried, the days I had my aha, my surprises, and all of those things, I believe that it puts me in a good place to be able to be grateful for other people and the things that other people do to me. So I believe my mindset for gratitude begins with me, begins with a person. And again, I cannot talk about this without going back to my podcast. And if you're a listener of my podcast, you definitely have heard my story, the challenges I face, my aha moments, my successes, and me living the life I'm living today, which I call this my best version. I'm happy where I am. I don't have everything I want, but I do have the things I need. So I always say that I am currently living my best version and I feel satisfied. And if you hear me talking about comparing myself with me, is because I want to be able to go back and say, hey, think of Solange in 2017. No, 17. No, it's maybe 2018. And think of Solange now, right? If you're not a listener of my podcast, you probably want to check that out. So, why am I bringing this up? This is me trying to not do my comparisons that will remind me to be grateful with anybody else, but with myself. So, looking at myself in retrospect, looking at where I was, right? Looking at how challenging it was when I did a PhD, looking at how my journey to Amanaville, somewhere in Aquia, looking at all the scares I had there, right? Everything that happened, how I made it there, my journey walking through those bushes for 2 days just to go collect data and all of those things. And I keep asking myself, I could have gone to, again, this story still scares my mom. She's always like, in as much as I wish you um, completed your PhD and did your project, sometimes I wish you never went to those villages. But again, to me, it's a lesson. And when I sit and think about things like that, those are the kind of things that make me grateful. Those are the kind of things that remind me that I am being washed over by an eye that I don't know. It's not because I deserve it, but because of how much grace we have, right? So when I sit back and I look at those experiences of how I struggled in Cameroon, of all the, when I think of all the difficulties I had, even coming back to Germany and still struggling on that PhD, like doing my best. I keep saying that I think I did my best, but um, I still lost it, right? I still lost the position. And moving from there, doing all the survival jobs I had to do in Germany, I am grateful for all those experiences. Those things were not my ideal situation. That is not where I wanted to be at that time. But when I sit and I think of what I learned, right, the lessons I got from doing my survival jobs, the lessons I got from not being able to afford something and reaching out to family and saying, hey, you know what? I really want this thing, or I would really like to get this for Haley, but I cannot afford it. Then my family puts money together and gives me. So to me, when I sit, I don't need to look at another person to be grateful for myself. I don't need to look at another. Yeah, you can if you want to. I don't stop anybody from doing that. But personally, the way it works for me is I look at myself. I just think of where I have been and I ask myself, like, hey, you made it through that. What else can you? It's not because you're special. It's not. Just the fact that I can sit here and turn on my camera and talk to whoever cares to listen. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for the gift of speech, right? I'm grateful for the gift of language. I'm grateful that I have the intelligence, that I have the knowledge to be able to concatenate things, put things together, and deliver in a way that will make sense to anyone that listens. It's just the small things. Sometimes we think that gratefulness should only come from, hey, you have something big and you want to, maybe you bought a new car, or maybe you got married, or maybe you had a baby, or maybe you bought a house. And those are the only things, kinds of things that we need to be grateful for. No, the small things, the little things. If you're able to put together those little things, I bet you that you will find a reason to say, hey, you just sit and smile. And someone will ask you, hey, what's making you smile? And you probably don't have an answer. And what is going on in your head? Just as I said, it's little things for me. It's really just the little things. Like I will sit sometimes and I'll be like, oh wow. I remember in my days in Boya when I was struggling, not struggling, of course, yes, with my daughter, and we'll go to places and do things. And my sisters will support me. I probably have a class, and I'm like, hey, do you have school? One of them will stay at home to watch Haley, or just the fact that we maneuvered through that and I still succeeded. It's just those little things. Sometimes we go about our days forgetting that we have to be grateful. Some people say, hey, when you talk about little things, what are you referring to? I just came from downstairs and like I was able to travel to be with family. If you are watching the show, you definitely see that this is not my regular space. So I'm not in my home. I'm traveled to um, spend Thanksgiving with family. And that ability to wake up and get on a flight and land where I landed is sometimes we forget. Like when we landed, as for some reason, I have that automatic I'm always scared when the plane lands. I have that landing phobia. So I don't worry when it takes off, but when the plane lands, I'm always really scared because I've been on a plane that landed roughly. So since then, whenever the pilot announces that, hey, we're about to land, I start praying in my heart. Seriously. And it is just a part of me now. As soon as the wheels touch the ground, I make the sign of the cross. And people have made it a couple of times. Imagine how many times I've been flying. And I've had people look at me. I'm sure they are wondering, oh, why did she do that? It's just for me, that is that gratefulness. Like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you that we landed safely. Thank you that I did not have that same scare I had the day we had a rough landing. You get it? So it's just little things. And talking about gratefulness, right? I will not go through this without making mention of my dear friend and once upon guest on the podcast, Lily Binglow. This amazing young woman recently had a TED talk on gratitude. If you have not listened to her, please find the time, find that video. I'm not sure how we can find. I'm using my phone right here, but I wish I was able to actually add the link to Lily's TED Talk so you can go watch it. Her deliverance was amazing. The delivery of her gratitude talk, please, when you have time. I'm sure that if you just go to YouTube and you type Lily Binglo, it should come up. I don't have the link handy. If I knew I was going to talk about it, I would have prepared that. But if you find that TED talk, listen to it and just have an open mind. I bet you that you will not close that tab the same. One of the things she said in there that I'm just going to reiterate here, I'll use her same um, example is, for example, right, you're driving and things happen, anything can happen. So you stand at a red light and somebody hits you from behind. We've heard that happen like a million times. Somebody hits your car from behind and you what is your normal reaction, right? What is the expectation? Most people will get out of their car and walk to the next one like, hey, what the heck? What did you just do? That is what I would say at least 90% of the world will do. That is like the most default thing that most people would do. get out of their car, walk to the car behind them, and not necessarily curse, but like, hey, what did you just do with my car? You get it? But the difference that we can make here, based on what Lily said in this TED talk, is, have you ever imagined that you got out of your car in that kind of an instance? You went to the car behind you and you're like, hey, is everything okay? Are you all right? Instead of questioning that, like, can you imagine how that person will feel? Right. So that is just a call out, the little things that we can change or we can do in order to just be nice. And I believe that being nice is something that will it it generates positivity, and positivity will generate gratitude. And I just believe that these things work hand in glove. And if you're able to just sit at some moment and say, hey, you know what? How far have I come? What has happened? Like, what are some of the things that I have overcome? What are some of the things that you can imagine that went differently? I just be grateful for those moments. I bet you that personally, it gives me a level of internal peace, as I earlier said. And sometimes I've had an instance where someone asked me, like, Solange, you're always making all this, your whatever you do, and seeming so happy, talking and laughing. Is it that you don't have problems? No, of course, Solange has problems. Solange does not have a perfect life, but I let positivity drive me. I just keep believing that what and where I am today is the will of the architect of my life, right? And that I learned to love what I have, to be grateful for what I have now. Do I crave more? Of course. But I don't wait to be able to get to a certain level before I start saying thank you. I start showing gratitude even for the little ones that I have now, even for the little things that I have now. I don't wait to say, oh God, when I was 25, I prayed to you that I wanted to have 3 kids. Now, 10 years plus later, I have just 1 kid. When I get to the 3 kids, I'm going to start thanking you. No, I'm going to thank God for the one that I have. If someday it happens that I get all, I get 3, then yes, I will just continue thanking God, because thanking, giving thanks makes me happy. Giving thanks gives me internal peace. Thank you so much for joining Famukon Solange. I appreciate you. And please pump me some hearts now. Come on. I've seen 4 likes, and let me know where you're watching from. And if you don't mind, kindly share with me how you show gratitude. Do you show your gratitude by going to church every Sunday to say, thank you, Lord? Do you show your gratitude by just saying your little prayer? Do you show your gratitude through charity? Do you show your gratitude just to just being nice to the people you come across? How do you, as a person, show gratitude? If you don't mind sharing, I'm looking out for those in the comment section. So, yes, and again, do not forget to pump me some hearts. I love to see some hearts and some likes pumping on there. Thanks so much. Thank you so much for joining. And that's my namesake that commented first. You see, we're attracting each other. You know, Solange is a special name, like Soleil, as we are meant to shine. So thank you so much for commenting. I appreciate you. Yeah, so again, we go back to the whole idea of showing gratitude, making sure that we are picking the little things, that we are not only waiting to be thankful, to be grateful when what we consider big things happen, that we are able to be grateful, we're able to be thankful even for the smallest things that we come across. Right. That is why I came on live today. Today will not be a very long show because, again, I'm on my own and I don't want to sound like I'm ranting a lot. It's always better when I have eyes live with me. But I do not want this topic to go unspoken, especially this weekend, especially during this weekend, this Thanksgiving weekend, and especially as we are rounding up the year. So, as we begin in the next couple of days, as December begins, I just call on you to be able to create the time to be able to sit back and say, hey, what am I grateful for? Sometimes, even if you go to Amazon, you can do yours. If you want to buy another person's one, go ahead and buy it. On Amazon, you will see there is something called a gratitude journal, which will require you to, like, hey, every day when you wake up, you can write your little, everything you're grateful for. If you get up that day feeling great and you want to be grateful for your health, you like go into that book and today I am grateful for my health. I am grateful that I have appetite to eat. I am grateful that I have food to eat. I'm grateful that I have shelter over my head. And you get ready. And again, writing it is, I was just having a little chat yesterday and the importance of these journals. People don't just keep those journals for keeping sake. It's one of the nice ways things to look at is when you keep journals like this, someday you'll sit back and you'll take that journal and you'll see like maybe, hey, last year I was grateful for this. It just there's that inner peace that comes with it, right? And I don't know how to describe what I call inner peace, but it's the way I feel whenever I just sit back and I'm like, oh wow, this is my life. This is my house. This is my child. These are my parents. These are my siblings. These are my friends. When I just think about things like that, I sit back and I smile. And why am I smiling? It's just because of that joy that fills my heart, right? And to me, again, forgive me if this is not how you feel when you're grateful, but personally, the way gratitude exudes itself in me is, from me, it's more like I'll just smile, I'll just feel happy, and I'll just sit back and laugh. Then I'll say it again. At times, when my daughter will ask me, like, "Mommy, what is funny?" But her little brain will not comprehend. So, however, gratitude, whenever you show gratitude, however it makes you feel, I bet that it's a good feeling. That is what I am defining as inner peace. To me, that is how I feel when I am truly grateful for something, especially when I'm able to identify the small things and be grateful for. At the beginning of this, I told you people about the ability to even speak like this, the ability to turn on my camera and just talk. Sometimes it feels like you're crazy. Look at now, I have about 5 people watching me, and it's not like I'm responding to comments, but I'm just talking. It's not an easy thing to do. So I am grateful for this skill. I am grateful for the ability to talk like this. Like, you know what? As we're growing up, they say, hey, foxes can dance without music. It's like I am talking without an audience. But yes, it is a skill. It is something that not everyone can do. Right. And so I do not take it for granted. I am grateful for it. I'm grateful for internet connection, that I could do all of this. And it's the little things that we take for granted. For the lighting that can make you see me this bright. I'm grateful for that. And so, what I know for sure is that when we have an attitude of gratitude, right, it just helps you see the good in the world. It helps you identify good even in bad situations. As I said earlier, on one of the most challenging things is to ask somebody to be grateful, to be thankful when they are in a bad situation. It's easy to say, but the action of it is not easy at all. I have found myself in a situation that I wish I was never in. Then I sat back and I'm thinking, like, what in this situation can I be thankful for? What is in here? What is anything that is connected to this thing that is causing me so much pain? To this thing that is making me so frustrated? To this thing that is making me feel like my world is coming to an end? To this thing that is making me just want to shut down? You get it? What is in there that I can be grateful for? Truly, it is not easy to go into those kinds of situations and try to find the good in it. Sometimes you don't even have to find a good to be thankful for. You're even thankful for the bad situation. You're thankful, like, for example, the example I gave about the car, somebody's car hitting you from behind. That might just have saved you from a crazy accident down the road. Maybe that delay during that time. I just have saved you from a crazy accident that was down the road. So it's when we talk about gratitude, um, it could be deep as well as it could be shallow, depending on how your mindset is. You could just look at this as no be na gratitude you talk about, no be na for talk thank you, right? But that is not all what gratitude is about. It is a lot deeper than that because if you are able to find that space in your heart to be sincerely grateful for something, I bet you that a smile is going to come to your face. Something on your face, like somebody will just look at you and they see it. Because we talk about gratitude, we it sounds like, hey, you just have to say thank you. And as I asked earlier on, how do you show gratitude? Hey, Ngwa Catherine, thank you so much for joining. Happy Sunday to you. How do you show gratitude? This is Ngwa Catherine. It's an amazing chef, cook. I see good food. That is a skill. Not everybody can cook like that. Not everybody has that potential, that ability, has that skill to mix things together and deliver it, and yet it's yummy in the mouth and good for the body. It's little things like that that I just decided to come on today to call on us all to think about. Think about those little things that you ignore. Think about those little things that you fail to acknowledge. But again, those things, even though you fail to acknowledge them, those are actually things that make you unique. Those are actually the things that make you special. But because they are in tiny little bits, there's always a tendency that we ignore them, we forget them, then we are not grateful. Sure, you're welcome. I always see you here watching, so of course I'll give you a shout out when I see you. Thank you for spending the 12, taking time to listen to us. So again, as I said, today's message is about gratitude. And gratitude not only for the big things, but gratitude for the small things in our lives. Gratitude that you have a phone or a computer wherever you are and you're able to stream this live and watch it. Gratitude for those little things that we take for granted. Gratitude that we are able to wake up in the morning, have the energy to do what you have to do. You get hungry, you have the appetite to eat food. You eat that food and you have that ability to even push out the waste. There are people who are not even able to push out that waste out of their systems. Show gratitude if you have a system that lets you stool 1 or 2 times a day, because millions of people out here don't have that luxury. You go and sit on the toilet pot and you poop and you throw things out and you just get up and go and you think that is that not normal? Is that not something everyone does? No, it's not something everyone does. There are people who are not able to do that like you. and so they struggle. Show gratitude for the smallest things that you do each day. Show gratitude that you can pick up a cup of water, a glass of water, and you drink, and you don't feel hurt on your throat, and you're able to swallow and have that water nourish your body, and it doesn't have to go in through an IV something. It's about showing gratitude for the little things. Show gratitude that you have the ability to chew on meat, to chew on roasted corn, to buy soya and eat. Gratitude that your teeth can chew. Gratitude for the little things is my message here today. Having an attitude of gratitude, not for the big things that we are normally or commonly known to be grateful for, but for the small things. That is my message today to you. That as we have a whole month left for the year to come to an end, and by God's grace, we make it through to 2023, we are able not only think of not only think of the big things, but to think more of the small things that we've been ignoring all these years. To think more of the things that we have taken for granted and show gratitude for them. However you choose to show, however, if I can get my tongue right, because I sound like I'm speaking Russian, or maybe however you choose to show gratitude, please do it. Yes, thank you, Fanny Sylvie. The fact that you feel so much peace is show gratitude for that, because there are people now who are restless, who are depressed, who are in situations they're in pain. Even though, yes, you can still be in pain and be peaceful. That can happen. But yes, show gratitude for the little things. So I do wish that you have an amazing end of year. I do wish that this message of mine reminds you of the importance of gratitude, not only for the big things that happen in our lives, but for the tiny little things, for your ability to have been able to stream this video and listen to me, for the ability to hear and understand when I talk. Show gratitude for those things. For those of you who choose to show your gratitude by looking at other people, that is good. Just imagine. And again, the whole adage in life that life is a ladder, right? There's always going to be people that are better than you, and there's always going to be people whom you're better than, right? So as you go through life, if that is the framework in which you see life, then hopefully you can look at it more and say, okay, I am grateful that I am here. And it's not because I am special that I am on level 2, because there is still a million people at level 1. So when you start showing gratitude for where you are, for what you have now, and when I talk money, right, so I have some friends, some people in my life with whom I talk money stuff with. And we always say this thing that money, that it's easier for the rich to become richer than for us, than for average human beings to become rich, which is true, which is very true. And why is that? Because the rich people do have, for example, if they said that, hey, I'm just sitting here and I'm looking at an Infinity car out there, and they say, hey, there's been a deal at the Infinity dealership that you can buy. If you buy 2 Infinity Jeeps, you get 2 Infinity SUVs, you get one for free. How many of us, let's say an Infinity SUV is $50,000. Maybe the original price is like $70,000 and I've brought it down to $50,000. And they say, hey, if you buy two of those Infinity SUVs, you're getting one for free. How many average people will have $100,000 in their accounts to go buy those, to go to benefit from that sale? So that is how, when I talk to my friends, the people I talk money with, that's how we look at it. We're like, you see, it's easier for rich people to get richer, right, than it is for an average person. But at the same time, that ability to be grateful for what you have at the moment. And I guess, I bet I don't quote this wrong, but I think I have heard this said by a man of God or in church, that to whom much is given, much is expected, right? So the moment we start being grateful and acknowledging that, hey, excuse me, and acknowledging that, hey, this is what I have, this is what I have to live with now, and just being grateful at the moment and not always wanting to get to a certain level before you start giving thanks. I bet you that that gratefulness, that attitude of gratefulness now is the ladder that you need in order to get to where you want to be. If you're not grateful for what you have now, it's going to be tougher for you to get to where you want to be. So this is just a call out. Show appreciation, give thanks, show gratitude, however way we want to put it, you want to look at it, with where and with what you have now or today, and just be happy where you are with what you have. Because as I just said with the comparison thing, there are people who do not have what you have now. Of course, and there are also people who have a million times what you have now. If you have to wait to show gratitude at a particular time, I bet you that you're stripping yourself of happiness and inner peace. Try it. Try being grateful for the tiny things. Try being grateful for what you have today. And I bet you that you're going to give me a call and say, hey, Solange, you're right. It feels so good. I see a comment from Gwangwa Catherine. I did cooking for someone last week. And after she paid my money and I prepared another food and went to thank her, she was very happy and picked up her phone and called her to recommend me to her. That's what gratitude can do. Yes. So somebody paid you to cook food for them. You cooked it, they paid you for it. And in order for you to say, hey, I'm happy for this contract, it might have been a big contract. You deliver and you get paid for it, right? It's not like you did it for free. Then after that, you say, hey, you know what? I'm really happy that I got this contract because Ngwangwa Catherine, I bet you that whoever gave you that contract could have given it to another person. You're not the only cook in town. You're not the only chef in town. So by going to show that appreciation, that person sees it and it kind of, see, gratitude triggers good. Gratitude triggers kindness. Try it. Try being grateful. Like, just make it a, say, for the month of December, right? All you want to do is give thanks. All you want to do is to show gratitude, be grateful. At the end of this year, let me know how you feel. I bet you that it works. If you look at his example, the moment he did that, he got a recommendation to probably, and that will lead to another contract. And that is how life works. Try being grateful for what you have now and not wait that, hey, until I get so and so level, and then I'll give thanks. Try being grateful for what you have now and see what happens. Tell me how it feels within. On the other side, try not being grateful and see how long you stay where you are. Is that part again? If you believe in karma, that's what I just said. But yes, that was our message today. You see, rocking this cap, I kind of like it. I feel like I'm showing off a little bit today, but I'm a proud Bamenda. So I just had to come and show off with you people a little bit. But I do hope that my message hits home. I hope that you learned something listening to me today, and that you will take upon the challenge to be grateful for every little thing you come across. Even in the bad situations, show gratitude. Because the truth is, that bad situation might just be saving you from a terrible one. Let's make the month of December our gratitude month. And I bet you that by the time we get into 2023, gratitude will have become a lifestyle, and you will do it without effort, even without even thinking. It's just going to flow. And remember what I said gratitude does? Gratitude gives you peace. It gives you a level of happiness. You feel happy within. And however you choose to show your gratitude, just do it. There is no one size fits all. There is no handbook. But however showing gratitude works for you, just keep doing it and show love. Thank you again for spending time with me today. Thank you for coming on, even though it was just me and not with Ice. Thank you that you did not come online and you saw just Solange and you ran away because there is no Ice. Thank you for trusting me with your time. And I wish you an amazing week ahead. And next week, by God's grace, I will be live with Ice or maybe another chair girl. But I promise you, it's not going to be Solange alone, because I bet you have heard enough of my voice already in my podcast. So next week, we'll see you at the same time, 3 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. West African Time, and 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and 2 p.m. Central Time. Catch you next Sunday, and please be good to each other. And remember to be grateful even for the tiniest little things that happen in your life. Be blessed and love you all. Bye bye.